Hello! We are back again for Skomer Live. Oh, it's so good to be back in the swing of it, bringing you all the best of one, I think, of the UK's best islands, to be honest. Yeah.
We're a bit biased, but I agree.
I think so. But actually, we really appreciate all of you getting in touch and sending in your wonderful comments, your wonderful memories as well. And of course, we've named our young shearwater chick yesterday, Seren. And I like to think that's because there are nighttime species on the island, right? So, some link with the night. I love that.
Yeah, it's a great name. And I know I keep going on about it, but I can't get over that Manx shearwater.
Oh,
it was
such a good
fluffy,
time.
So fluffy. I loved it. Yeah, I loved my time on the island. There was birds everywhere, noises, smells. It was really fully immersed. It was great.
It's one of those overwhelming places, isn't it?
It is, but in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to be back on Friday for the series finale.
Yeah. So please do let us know where you're coming in live from, and yeah, just get in touch more because we really do really love your questions.
And just like yesterday, we've got a guys today.
Oh yeah.
Different. So we're going to show you two pictures, and we want you to guess what animal it is. But
yes.
We're not going to tell you. We're not going to give you the full deal. So these are two birds kind either on the phone up or around the island. And the first picture should be.
That's a good way of putting it, by the way, which is kind of.
So this first picture should be able to make out. It's a little bit hard. We've put you in the deep end here because this bird's in flight. It does make things a bit harder.
It changes things, definitely.
If it was on the ground, you would be able to see sort of like a white rump, a bit of black, quite distinctive markings.
Yeah. Well, less. I guess a bit more obvious.
A bit more obvious. But while it's in flight, it's a little bit hard to tell.
I just think the colours are a bit more broken in flight. So actually, yeah. Just think about your. Can I give them a clue?
Do you know what it is?
I know what it is. Yeah, I know what it is.
Have a clue.
It's a wading bird.
It is a wading bird. Yeah.
Have you given away too much?
Nah, it's not a wading bird. It doesn't look like a big one.
No, it's a medium-sized wader. Yeah.
So let us know if you know what that is. What's the next one, Lizzie?
So the next one, yes. Have a look at this picture. So I think white and tail, one of my favourite birds. I know it's every seabird we get here in the UK. Can't give you too much, but obviously nice white plumage. I think the shape here is the biggest clue in understanding what species it is. Unlike your gulls, think away from that. Think away from the lighter coloured birds, the lighter plumage, but that tail shape.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of birds. I think I know what it is. It is a little bit of a tricky one. Not too sure.
I feel like people get it. People know their seabirds on here. Yeah.
You guys know.
So let us know, and we will reveal the answer at the end. We should really say there is a prize, mystery prize. We'll be revealing all at the end, and 3 of you will be picked out of a lucky pick hats, and we'll pick 3 names to win the mystery prize. No, absolutely. So I've spent a lot of time on the island. This year was no exception, and I was after one particular species, a character, an icon, to sort it out. Do you think? Okay, I tell you what. There's something going on with our audio. We're going to fix that. Watch me frolicking around Skomer Island. One of the best things about this island, of course, is the short-eared owls. You have them in unprecedented numbers on this island. So back in 1993, the year I was born, there were up to 14 pairs of short-eared owls found on this island alone. That's over 30 chicks on one place. And it's not a massive island, but it is a place that has a lot of food resource. So small mammals like mice and the famous Skomer vole can be found here and are really important for species like short-eared owls. So we've arrived in one of the best places to see them. Currently, the short-eared owls will have chicks. As we move into July, we'll start to see the chicks fledging. So now is a really, really good time to see the chicks, or see the chicks on the nest, but to see the adults in flight in the daytime. They're quite a unique species, and that in the day, they'll be up on the wing looking for the 3 to 4 mammals that they need to be feeding their chicks every single day. Such a brilliant thing to see, and what a unique species to see out in the day on a wonderful island like this. So we've spotted a few along the wild ridge lines, just looking out to sea, and we're going to head deep into the bracken to see if we can see any more.
That was brilliant.
I know. We just had a great day.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I was prancing around the island with Glyn Rayner.
Oh yeah?
The camera up, yeah.
He's currently behind the camera
He's
right
actually filming us right now. But there's a place from the farmhouse if you go towards the pond, and if you overlook that area and look to the ridge, places to see shorted owl, either resting on the fence posts or feeding, especially when I was there. So that was in June, where they're out feeding their chicks in the daytime. So that's the other thing with shorted owls. You're able to not only see them in good numbers, but able to see.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that they're doing so well on the island.
Yeah.
I mean, they're actually 1/5 of all of Wales is shorted owls are on Skomer, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's pretty remarkable. Do you know what else is remarkable?
Go on.
You know when you're walking around Skomer, you can
Yeah.
just be like, everywhere. There's some gilly mots.
Yeah.
You can just be looking at one bird, turn around, and there's a shorted owl.
This is it. This is the beauty of having so many big characters in one place. So
Wonderful. I love
best
it.
island in the world.
Right, now we're going to go back to one of our wardens, who is hopefully on the line. Are you there, Beth? Hello, hello.
Can you hear me?
Mm.
Hi guys.
Yeah, awesome. Hello.
Oh, here she is.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. So, in spring, on the island, there's some beautiful flowers, carpets of all different coloured flowers, and things like bluebells in particular, but also sea campion.
Yeah.
What's that like to witness?
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, so we arrived quite early in the spring before these flowers have come up. So seeing the colours come through, as you say, that beautiful blue and purple of the bluebells and the pink of the red campion coming through as well. It's quite something. The island changes so much in such a short period of time, with just a little bit of rain, and yeah, it's pretty magic really. The whole place just comes to life.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
And
I've got to say, it's one of my favourite times to be there, because not only do you get to see things like shorted owls and the birds, but you also get those colours. And just walking around, you could do it for hours.
yeah, I need to go back in the spring and witness it for
Yeah,
myself.
definitely.
And you've sent us a clip of some of you guys working on the bird ringing, and I believe it's the herring gulls and lesser blackbacks. So what's the watch the clip actually?
So today we're catching gull chicks, mostly lesser blackback gulls, but also herring gulls. And we are ringing them for the BTO in order to look at their survival and productivity. So each of these gull chicks is fitted with a metal ring on the leg, like this. And this ring has a unique number that is individual to this bird, so when it is seen or caught again, we can identify it to this individual, and we know when it was ringed, where it was ringed, and so we can find out where it's been, where, you know, how old it is and how long it lives.
So it's clear that you do some amazing work there. What's the purpose of ringing the birds?
Yeah, so we ring all sorts of birds over here on the island, including, as you say, the herring and the lesser blackback gull chicks. It's really important from a monitoring perspective, so we can get an idea of how long they live for by resighting these rings. So this gives us a really good indicator of productivity, so how well these chicks are surviving, I guess, the first few weeks of fledged lives. The chicks will all come together and form bigger groups, and you can kind of look at how many have been ringed and how many haven't. It's really interesting from a monitoring point of view.
Yeah, that's the beauty of ringing, I guess. You do get that long-term monitoring, which can really give you a bigger picture of the survival of species like this. And I love those clips because you get to see what you guys actually get up to. We hear all about the monitoring, the management of the island, and actually what you do with the seabirds. So it's nice to see a bit of behind the scenes as well. One of my favourite species, I say that about.
You say that about every bird.
Oh God, I can't. So the black-legged kittiwake, and you have them on Skomer Island, and in spectacular ways. There's a place on the Wick where you can just sit and just watch them on their nests across the cliffs. It's absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best pastimes. But how are they doing in terms of numbers? Because obviously our kittiwakes across the UK have been in decline for quite a while and are in decline in huge numbers.
Yeah, so we monitor the kittiwakes every year over here. It's tricky to say the exact trends. We try to look at long-term trends rather than year on year, just because there can be standard fluctuations. But as you say, kits are struggling here in the UK, so they're a bird that we very much enjoy having and hope to have in the future. But yeah.
Brilliant. I love a
Love
kittiwake.
kittiwakes.
Brilliant, aren't they?
Yeah.
Now, right now, here in Wales, it's actually pretty sunny. It's quite a nice day.
It's too hot, to be honest, Yussef. It's way too hot. 26, 27?
Yeah, I think it's almost 30.
I don't know how you're doing there, Beth. It looks like paradise, but it looks very hot as well.
But we are
pretty
in
windy
Wales,
today, yeah.
and sometimes the weather isn't always that nice.
Mm.
So, especially being on the west coast, we get some pretty rough weather. So, things like storm surges, high tides, powerful waves.
Yeah.
And this can obviously have pretty detrimental effects on the breeding birds. So, what have you noticed this year, Beth? Have there been any patterns in particular?
Yeah, so as you say, today is a bit of an exception. It's really, really warm over here on Skomer today, as it has been for most of the week. But certainly earlier on in the season, we saw quite a few big storms coming in from the south. In particular, one, I think it was late May, pretty problematic, as you say, for our breeding birds. There were waves, I think it was up to 16 metres off Skomer, Sister Island to the south, and you can imagine they're pretty devastating for the birds that breed on these cliff ledges, including the kittiwakes that you spoke about. So they can be really problematic, these storms, and they're only going to get more abundant as we go on. But we've also had some incredible fog this year as well in June. Really cool to see, very atmospheric. A bit tricky for our seabird counting when you're trying to look at a cliff face when you can't really see much more than 5 meters in front of your own face. But yeah, it's certainly been an interesting weather year so far.
Yeah, and those storms, of course, increasing in severity, and of course, that critical time where they are breeding is going to prove hugely difficult for them.
Birds.
Now, we had a few questions. Well, we actually had quite a lot of questions that came in from the audience from various pages yesterday, but we picked out 2 of our favourites, which I'm sure you hear quite a lot, because I know when I Skomer, I wanted to know the same thing. The first question is, how are the puffin numbers this year, and are they increasing?
Blimey. So our puffin count took place in April, so we have to do them before the birds go into their burrows to incubate, because otherwise we could miss up to 50% of the birds. The numbers are pretty similar to last year. We actually had 17 more birds, so 17 than last year, which is pretty cool, especially when it's an entirely new team counting those birds. So they're pretty similar on last year's figures, so it's just under 35,000 puffins that we have over here on Skomer at the moment.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Beth. Lovely to hear from you again.
Wait, we've got another question.
Wait, another question?
Yes, got another question first.
Oh,
You're so keen to go to live cameras, aren't you?
Right,
You want to see the puffins.
Go on.
No, the other question is, what is the main food source for gulls on the island? And whoever's written in, sorry, we don't have your name, but it says, I've seen lots of dead birds on land when I visit, and that's quite common along the paths, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. So we have a variety of gulls over here. So we've got herring gulls, lesser blackbacks, great blackbacks, and kittiwakes. The first 3 of those, pretty varied diets, but the dead birds you're seeing on the ground will be being eaten by the great blackback gulls. So the birds are actually Manx shearwaters. You're unlikely to see any live ones while you're over here during the day, because they come in at night to avoid the exact same fate that's befallen the carcasses you can see on the ground. They're very clumsy, which is why they come in at night to avoid predation. If there's any light at all from the moon and the stars, those are the great blackbacks they're able to hunt. But it's a really important food source for the great blackbacks over here. I mean, they're in decline as well, so it's really important for them to feed their chicks. And the numbers you're seeing are tiny in comparison to the sheer number of Manx shearwaters we have over here. We've got something like 350,000 pairs of the birds, so pretty tiny numbers in comparison.
Yeah. Awesome.
Any more questions?
That's it. Sorry, Yussef.
No, it's good. No, thank you, Beth. That was brilliant.
Beth, so good to see you.
Lovely to see you guys too.
We'll see you later in the week.
See you later.
Absolutely.
I do. Yeah, they know their stuff.
I not only know the stuff, but like they literally live and breathe Skomer Island, and they're the ones who have their finger on the pulse with any changes and things coming up. So it was good to catch up.
Always good. Yeah. Right, puffin time.
Puffin time.
Puffin time. So yesterday we showed you our baby Manx shearwater in the burrow with a live cam.
Yeah.
Today we've got another live cam for you, and it's puffins. So we should be able to see that live cam right now. And There's puffins everywhere.
Puffins everywhere. Yeah, so these live cameras were set up last year
Mhm.
and they were to really help give the researchers and you an insight into the lives of these birds day in, day out. And
Yeah.
I literally mean day in, day out. And you see so much activity, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few interesting behaviours
Mm.
that we've witnessed on Skomer Island itself because of these cameras.
Yeah.
And one of them is that, which we didn't actually realise, but
Mm.
puffins don't always spend the night in their burrows. Sometimes they just sleep outside under the stars.
Yeah, and new behaviour caught from those live cameras. So
Yeah.
that was pretty exciting.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Lots of kind of the usual, so picking up material and carrying them back to the nest. We know that puffins do use tools as well. We know that some of the research that goes on the island has actually found that and documented that and is now being scientifically described. Lots of fighting, lots of gulls coming in hot,
Yeah,
taking out puffins and sand eels. It's dramatic.
yeah, very dramatic. And of course, if you check out those live cameras at night, you'll also hear things like Manx shearwater.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. So you should definitely do that.
Yeah, catch the live cameras pretty much any time of day. But yeah, it's a brilliant thing to be able to see both in the burrow and outside as well. And of course, over the season, we have been asking the wardens to send us any interesting clips and things perhaps we don't normally get to see. So you may be familiar with those brilliant corvids, so the chuffs you get on our coasts, but we rarely see them mating. So here's a clip that was sent in to us by the wardens, and I love it. It's a different side to chuffs. Perhaps you
Yeah.
don't see. Maybe
I don't
something to
think-
look out for.
I
if
don't
you're
think
out
I've
on the
ever seen
island.
them mating.
Well, maybe now you see this clip, maybe you know what to look for.
We'll see it.
Yeah, it's really lovely. So, we've had chuffs playing, and also what do we have next? We've also got razorbills mating. Yeah, so we've got a razorbill pair mating. That was also shared with us by the wardens.
Yeah.
Which again, they get to see their day in life. So,
Yeah.
and that lovely kind of mating behaviour that you see up close and personal. So it's something to look for, I think, if you're maybe next year on the island.
Definitely. And it shows how well they're doing on the island, that they're actually mating.
Yeah.
So lovely bit of mating behaviour.
Love it, love it, love it. Right, what else are we up to?
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to welcome in, of course, the one and only. It's going to be Yolo Williams, who, of course, we know well, is friend of the island. He couldn't join us this year, very, very busy man. But of course, he's a Welsh treasure. He is a naturalist and TV presenter, and he's here to tell us all about his connection with nature, the past 18 months, and why you shouldn't mow.
Hello there everyone, I hope you're well. I'm sitting in my garden here in mid-Wales. I've just come back from Scotland, so we're half a day off, and I'm enjoying my lawn. Well, what should be a lawn is actually, well, as you can see, it's more of a wildflower meadow at the moment. I went through no more May and it's now let it grow. June has gone as well. I gotta think of something that rhymes with July. Leave the fly July or something like that anyway, but it works because I've got white clover here, I've got buttercups, I've got mouse-eared hawkweed, I think that one is, I've got self-heal. Earlier on in the year I had, what do I have here? I had primroses here, I've got birds for trefoil around the corner, and the bees love it, the butterflies love it. And I think, do you know, it's been a funny old 18 months, isn't it, with the pandemic, but in some respects, wildlife has actually benefited, I think. I know many people out there haven't mowed their lawns, so they've let it grow. And that's been brilliant because, like me, they've been having a look around and seeing all the wildflowers coming through and all the various species of bees and butterflies and hoverflies and everything else that's using the garden. And I think because we've been in lockdown as well, a lot more people have had time to look at these things. I've had so many people saying, well, are the birds noisier this year? No, they're not noisier. There's a lot less noise, of course. There were fewer cars. I know we're almost back to normal now, but there were fewer cars and you could hear more birdsong. And I think because we spent more time at home, we noticed more birdsong, we noticed more butterflies and more bees as well. And that's been a good thing. The fact that we've reattached to nature in many ways. So many people, so many adults remember doing it as youngsters maybe, and for the first time in a long time they've been able to go for walks, they've been able to notice things like a singing blackbird or find a song thrush nest if you're lucky enough to do that, or look at frogs and toads and newts in your ponds and dragonflies and damselflies as well. I've had well, I would say brilliant, and because the pandemic hasn't been easy, but I found solace in nature because I got a little pond in my garden as well. Spent hours having a cup of tea looking into there. And some of the other ways they've benefited is because there have been fewer cars on the road. We've seen fewer road kills. Now the cars are back on them, seeing dead hedgehogs. I had a young otter killed the other day, not far from my house here as well. So that's a real shame, really. You know, we should take more time and more care with these things. And I tell you another knock-on effect I have seen. In the past, I've lambasted local councils because they've been cutting the verges. Some of them still do, unfortunately, but they've been cutting the verges and all the green areas willy-nilly. But thankfully, because of the pandemic, they left a lot of them last year. And I think they've learned their lesson, some of them as well, because I see many of them are actually leaving it again now. And that has had a brilliant knock-on effect. Last spring and this spring, I've seen so many bee flies, these amazing things, flies there that mimic bees. They hover like sort of mini hummingbirds. And so I think if we get any legacy out of the pandemic, I think it's this attachment and appreciation for nature and for wildlife. So hopefully we will remember that when we needed it, nature was there for us. And now that nature really needs our help, we must be there for it as well. Okay, take care now.
Thank you so much, Yolo. That was absolutely brilliant.
I miss Yolo, he's brilliant.
I do, yeah. It was great to see you virtually again. And what a beautiful garden you've got. But you're absolutely right. You know, wildlife did bounce back quite a lot during lockdown. And hopefully we can continue to enjoy it just as much as so many of us did during the lockdowns.
Yeah.
But right now, Lizzie, we've got a bit of an exciting bird as your favourite.
Well, it kind of turned out that way, to be honest. That was kind of accidental, but here we are.
We've got a film now about the original favourite bird that you told us yesterday.
The guillemot.
The guillemot.
The guillemot.
Guillemot. And guillemots are another bird that use survival in numbers to survive. So we're going to go check them out.
I've just been sat here for the past 10-15 minutes watching this wall of guillemots. At this time of year, at the end of June now, Skomer has lots of different auk species. You've got your razorbills, your puffins, which are of course Burrows species, but the guillemots are some of the most impressive when it comes to nesting on these cliffs in colonies. And I say nesting, but actually it's more like leaning against a really steep cliff, because a guillemot only has the area that it stands on to have that wonderfully vibrant kind of turquoise speckled egg. Now, lots of long-standing research has been carried out on this island by Professor Tim Birkhead, who has been here for the past 30 years carrying out consistent research on these guillemot colonies and on the wonderful evolution of that egg. They are an absolutely fantastic species. Woohoo! Yeah, I love that. More planting around the island, to be honest. And the beauty of the guillemots, so that they are different to the other auks in that they will literally, as you said, kind of stick to safety in numbers. They'll be in the huge numbers, crammed into this tiny ledge where underneath their feet they'll look after this vibrant turquoise blue egg. And that will be their nesting space. And they have all these kind of razor sharp bills sticking out as like a wall of weapons away from predators like the gulls that are coming in. So for me, it's the most dramatic, smelly scene, and it's got to be up there with number one.
Love a dramatic, smelly scene.
Yeah. Right now, it's time, again, not being rude, but it's time to read out some of your comments. So we got some hellos, haven't we, Yussef?
We do have some hellos. So we have a hello from Margaret from Bridgend.
Yeah.
Sue from Woking, who says she was on the island on Sunday and loved it.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, it was good weather.
It was good weather. Very good. Who else we got? We've got Norma from Plymouth.
Hello.
Thanks for saying hello. We've got Terry Ann from, I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Blaenavon.
That must be somewhere in Wales.
We're working on it, aren't we, on the Welsh?
We are. Yeah. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not Welsh, but we're getting there.
We're working on it.
And then who else? We've got We've got Claire from Notts, so I'm
Yeah,
guessing
Claire
that's
from
either
Notts.
Nottinghamshire or
And-
Nottingham.
Yeah, Toby Middlemist, watching from Haverfordwest. Wait,
So many
we're
of
in
you.
Haverfordwest.
Are
So, yeah, you must not be far.
Don't tell them where we
Toby!
are.
Toby! We're in the sunshine in beautiful Pembrokeshire.
Lovely.
Right, okay, well, we've got some questions in. We'll get to those. No, let's do the competition reveal, shall we?
Competition, yeah.
Right, I'm sorry to say, lovely people watching, but only one of you got the correct answer. So that is you, Toby, from round the corner, who you guessed oyster catcher and gannet. I've got to say, it was a bit of a hard one, so let's have a look at those pictures again.
Yeah.
When you see the full picture of the oyster catcher, you can really see that
Yeah.
wonderful bill, that
Yeah.
wonderful face, and you can hear almost
Yeah.
the peewit sound in your mind.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah, but when you see it like that, that could only be an oyster
Yeah.
catcher.
Second one?
The second one,
It is a
that
gannet.
is a gannet, and you can see that beautiful coloration, really slick, aren't they?
Slick birds,
Slick.
but actually the fan of that tail is quite obvious, quite distinctive in gannets.
Yeah,
It's hard to recognise, but once you see it on a gannet and once you see them flying, especially as they kind of go up before they dive, you can see the way they manoeuvre that fan tail. Absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I think pretty hard round. Maybe we'll do
That was
something.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
something
but
a
well
bit
done
easier
to
next time.
Toby, was it?
Toby.
Toby.
Yeah,
Well
fantastic.
done, Toby.
Okay, so we've got some questions in. So Mary Lloyd says, is Skomer open all year to visitors? No, it's not. So it's open, I believe, from, I better not get this wrong, April and closed in September. Yeah. So the joys of coming to Skomer, the puffins will leave very, very soon, but actually you can go and see the seal pups on the island. There's still lots going on.
Yeah.
The gannets will still be around till August, September time anyway, so they're one of the last seabirds to go. But it's not open all year round. However, the wardens do stay on for a little bit longer, and they will actually leave well. So, good question. Do you want to read the second one out?
Yeah, so this is from Barry and Jill. When it's very hot, do the seabirds come to land and hide in burrows, or do they stay at sea?
So, good question. I'm not really sure how linked the activity of the seabirds day to day is to temperature. But from what I've seen, especially if you look at a normal day, the puffins in the mornings and the evenings, that's when they'll be most busy with their sand eels coming in and out. In the daytime, you do still get lots of puffins on the island, out in the sunshine, in the heat, and actually out on the sea as well. So perhaps that's a question we can ask our wardens as well, get a bit more detail on that one.
We were there yesterday. It was a very hot day, and there was still
Puffins everywhere, yeah. All sorts of behaviours. So we'll check with our wardens tomorrow and get back to you on that one. What else have you got?
We've got, this is a good question. So this is from Jane Michael. How many sand eels can a puffin carry, and is there a record? Do you know the answer?
Yes, there is a record.
There is?
Okay, so this is, it's so brilliant. We should do one on a puffin bill and the tongue of a puffin, because it's so sharp. There's lots of kind of razor sharp projections out of its bill. You see an open mouth of a puffin, and on its tongue as well. So that record, I believe, is about 62 sand eels. Might be more.
I thought you were going to say 16, but 62.
No, 62. So it's
That's
either a
lot.
really big puffin or a really greedy puffin. I'm not sure
Yeah.
yet. What is the last auk to leave the island? Is a good question that's just come in. Gosh, the guillemot's already left, so the razorbills are here and there. I'll probably say the puffin again. Something to double check with the wardens, but the puffins. Yeah, I'd say probably now all the auks are aiming to leave the island, but just this year, if you were to be there, you'd probably see more guillemots on the water rafting and more puffins still flying about. Got another hello from Elizabeth Love Allen from Winderley in Wiltshire. Hello, and one more question for you.
For me?
Yeah. Harley, age 10, is Yussef going to show us Skomer bugs and slow worms?
Oh, hello, Harley. Yeah, I'd love to show you some bugs. I feel like we've been pretty bird heavy at the moment, and I do love birds, but
might have to squeeze it in.
Might have to squeeze it. We're going to see if we can squeeze it in, but we are going to see some slow worms, right?
Yeah, we're going to have to try and make room for it a little bit later in the series. But thank you for watching, and thank you for asking, because yeah, we need more slow worms, definitely.
Well,
right.
That brings us to the end of the show, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah. So tomorrow we're going to have lots going on. I believe we might have a special guest.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We've got some more.
Yeah.
More
puffins.
What else we've got?
We're going to have lots of your comments and questions as well coming back. We're going to be chatting to the warden and bringing you more wildlife stories from the island.
And a landslide.
Oh yeah, there was a unique landslide which happened last year, so we're going to be telling you more about that and updates from the island itself.
Tune in.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
6 p.m.
Bye guys.
Bye.